everyone, my name is Shivani Tyagi, your philosophy and ethics teacher. So actually you wanted a series where you wanted me to cover all Western philosophers. So let's talk about Kant today. So when we talk about Kant, who is Kant? He was a person who gave a synthetic pair judgment. Now I'm sure that you have heard this before, but to understand these keywords it gets difficult, right? So this is why I'm here for you, to break all the keywords, to help you analyze all of it and relate all the philosophers with the real life examples, with the current affairs. So I'm again telling you that if you are missing all this in philosophy subject, in your philosophy subject, then you are most welcome in my class at IES Plutus. So let's talk about what did he say. So basically he was a German philosopher, and I always make sure that my students are learning about every philosopher's history. Why? Because their history is somehow related to how they perceive the world. Why did they give their certain type of philosophy? History tells about this. So make sure that you are going through the life and context of each and every philosopher. So let's understand that he was a German philosopher and he was the founder of transcendental idealism. Now what transcendental idealism is, that we'll understand in our next slides. He was influenced by Hume and rationalists. Kant himself was a rationalist. Now I made a long video on this rationalist and empiricism, so make sure that you are going through those videos, you are understanding, because I started making videos on basic concepts. I started explaining with rationalists and empiricists, and I also gave divisions of certain philosophers who are falling in this category. So make sure that you are reading it, make sure that you are analyzing it, and you are actually making a table in which all philosophers are falling under rationalism and empiricism, and the theories that they gave, and also the books they have written. Make sure that you have one page for this. This will help you before examination, 2 days before, 3 days before, just to analyze all of the philosophers together. This page, this pointers. So all of this will help you. So make sure there is certain page written about these philosophers. His major works were Critique of Pure Reason. Now let's understand what his theory was. So he was the philosopher who gave theories, philosophy about world of phenomena and world of nomina. So now, what is world of phenomena? Phenomena, according to him, is that is present in actually, and we are existing. We are perceiving that world through our senses. Right, so it's appearance of of objects, and our mind filters it. So phenomena is a world where we are actually coming in contact with the object, right? And nomina is the object, the world where the object is actually present. So for example, if I can see this pen, if I can see this camera, if you can see me, then that's existing in world of phenomena, right? I can perceive that, I can see that, I can touch that, I can hear that, I can feel that. That's happening in world of phenomena, right? And what's world of nomina? World of nomina is where object is existing in itself, right? We have nothing to do with nomina. Those objects are present with their qualities, with their observations, and they exist in themselves, right? True and real objects. So all the objects which are true in themselves, which are existing in themselves, that is world of nomina. So they naturally exist and independently outside of our minds. Our mind has nothing to do with world of nomina. They are existing in themselves. All the objects which have their qualities, which have their existence, and they are existing outside of us, right? So exist without any space and time and is unknowable to us, right? So all of these things comes under the nomina. So suppose a pen existing in itself, right? So it will fall under the category of nomina. Now me having, perceiving it, which is of black color, right? It's straight. So these are the qualities of the pen, right? And this is existing where? This is existing in phenomena. Understood? So these are the differences that you have to understand, and these are the concepts that he gave. Now let's take another example. Suppose there is an object, paper, right? Right. UPSC Philosophy Optional paper is existing in nomina, right? There are certain questions written on that paper and it's existing somewhere, right? So that somewhere will be nominal. It is existing in themselves, right? Paper is existing in itself, right? Then it naturally exists independently outside of my mind, right? I don't know that there is certain questions written over there. There are certain MCQs, there are certain marks, right? I'm not aware of the philosophy optional paper. Okay, so this is what nomina. Now what is phenomena? Me perceiving that paper. I get to know about all the questions. I got to, read those questions. That's what phenomena. How that happened? After seeing it, right? So it's the appearance of objects, our minds filter it. Now what are the tools that he mentioned? So there were certain tools that Kant mentioned, and these tools are space, times, and 12 categories. We'll read about these 12 categories later in the next slide. So he says that space, time, and 12 categories like quality, quantity, and the way perceive these objects, with including these two, space and time, these are the tools that helps us to filter our mind and reaching towards phenomena to nomina. Understood? So basically, through space, time, and 12 categories, we are reaching from phenomena to nomina. And this is how we are coming, in contact with those words, with that world, right? So let's understand what did he say about direct realism, indirect realism, and idealism, and how he took his theory, transcendental idealism, from these three. What exactly he took from these three. So basically, direct realism says that reality you perceive is exactly what exists in external world, right? So basically, if you are seeing this pen, this object, right, and your mind is actually seeing its figure, its extension, right? For example, I can see its color, I can see that it's straight, I can see that it's hard, right? So these are what? These are the figure, extension, and color that I'm perceiving, right? So there is a direct contact of object and my mind, right? There is no mediator, there is nothing else. So in direct realism, the contact is from object to mind, right? So this is direct realism is object and mind contact. Understood? Now, indirect realism is that physical objects exist outside of mind but mind dependent. They are existing outside. Yes, object is existing, right? In itself, it is there. If I may not perceive it, if I'll move out from this room, I still can see this pen. Now, if I can see this pen, then it's indirect realism, right? But my mind is dependent on it. Why? Because I am understanding about this figure, about this color, about the straightness. That's happening because I can see it. So it's somewhere mind dependent, right? So this is what indirect realism, right? So in this we understood what? That it's mind dependent. Got it? Then we have idealism. Idealism, there are certain philosophers also which we will read about in details. Idealism are so no external or physical world beyond our mind. So idealist philosophers are those philosophers. This will help you understand more in detail. Idealist philosophers and idealist people are those people who think that there is nothing beyond our mind. Whatever is existing, it's all in our mind. In reality, there is no object, right? So there are certain philosophers who will question that if you are saying so, then what if you move out of this room and you still see that object? How will you define that? To this, they actually, some of them fail to give answers, but some of gave answer and solution of God. Now in the comment section, you will tell me that who are the philosophers who gave their idealist theory, on the God. And they actually failed to even prove the theory of God. So this is what you will be telling me in the comment section. So basically, every and each object which is existing our mind, beyond our mind, and they are existing in themselves, that is what? Idealist, right? So no external or physical world beyond our minds. Understood? So basically, mind, that is figure, extension, and color, and external world, real objects in external worlds, right? So basically, let's take example of projector, like your mind or a projector is over there, and because of projector you can see images on the screen, right? So in the same way, our mind is like a projector, and the screen is like reality, right? And through this reality, we see certain objects. So idealism say that everything is in our mind and there is nothing in real existing outside. There is no world outside, right? So let's understand. And also they call that the only perceiver is God. If I am moving out of this room, the objects are still existing, then it's existing because God is perceiving them. The ultimate reality, right? And that ultimate reality never, leave the area or never stop perceiving. So because of that, if you are moving out of the room, if you are moving out of the place, and if you are not perceiving those objects, then there is one ultimate perceiver, and that ultimate perceiver is God. So this is what a few philosophers said. So in the comment section, I'll be waiting for your answers. You'll be telling me that who are the philosophers who gave certain theories about God, right? So let's move. So now let's understand rationalism, empiricism. I actually told you this, that I made a very like properly explained video of rationalist and empiricist. I made it because I've seen philosophers, I've seen people, I've seen students reading philosophies in deeply, but when it comes to very basic things, basic keywords, basic understanding of philosophy, they forget it. So make sure, especially people who are opting for philosophy optional, make sure that you have a pager which have all the philosophers in them and the theories that they gave, the criticism that has been discussed with each philosopher with comparison, and with the examples, the actual examples that they gave, and the examples that you will be putting in the examination. Make sure that you have one pager for that, right? So let's understand, empiricists are analytical propositions. Now what are analytical and synthetic propositions? So basically, analytical propositions are which are, they are truth of reasons, they cannot be doubted, right? They are proving themselves without any questioning, right? For example, all bachelors are unmarried. Now can you question that? This bachelor and unmarried is actually proving a lot, right? So they are truth of reason. You cannot question this, you cannot doubt this, right? So its knowledge comes from a reason. Reason is there, logic is there, facts are there, right? So this is what analytical. And then there is empiricism, synthetic proposition, that truth of facts, that all bachelors are happy. Now for this you have to go with the data, with the numbers, with the analysis, with the understanding, and there should be like proofs for this, right? Right? Now in rationalism I can prove that in philosophy optional it's very easy to score 300, right? If you are practicing enough, if you are dedicated towards your subject, if you are showing willingness, then it is falling under rationalism. Why? Because there is a truth of reason, there is a logic, there is a fact in this statement that I gave to you. Now it becomes empiricism, it becomes truth of facts. Why it becomes truth of facts? Because that totally depends how much dedicated you are, right? But if you know that you are willing to, and there are certain people, students who actually score 300 in philosophy, and it's easy to do that. How? You have to attend my classes, you have to go with the questions that I'm giving you in class, you have to come with the discussions that I'm coming up with, you have to understand the PYQs, you have to understand the syllabus, and then you're good to go. So these things also fall under the rationalism and empiricism, right? So it's a posteriori, a priori. So what is posteriori? Posteriori is which is known later, right? After the empiricism. And a priori is before, right? To this he comes out, rationalism is analytic and a priori, right? And empiricism is synthetic and posteriori. And human mind is active originator of experience rather than passive recipient, right? There are always changes that has been seen in, mind of human being. So with this we'll end it here, and I'll be coming with second part, and I'll be waiting for your answer that I gave a question to you, and we'll discuss it over there. Thank you.